Another workout done. Sorry, I'm always doing these videos when I'm all disgusting and sweaty, guys. It's just, I remember to do these videos after I finish my workout because I'm typically doing videos for my business. And I've been applying to the so-called virtual training employee sites, whatever. And they want oftentimes for you to make a video to show them of you doing some virtual training. So I checked the mail today. Couldn't check it a couple days ago because my mailbox door was broken and I couldn't open it. And it's not like I can call the landlord to fix that, amongst dozens of other things that are wrong with my apartment. So yeah, so I got the letter from unemployment, opened it, and as I expected, I was technically rejected, but that's no surprise as I'm self-employed. But during the period prior to everyone locking down as a result of Charlie 19, I did work part-time for a company, and I received the tax return regarding that information, and I provided that information because legally I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to provide the information of whatever I earned through my self-employment and whatever I earned through the side job that I did. And I've yet to do my taxes because I simply don't have the funds to do it. And I had asked a client slash friend to help me out, and she basically told me, go online and do it yourself. It only costs $50. Thing is, things are so bad right now that $50 for me, between doing my taxes or spending that money on food, I'm gonna spend it on food. I haven't received any income since, I would say, the beginning of March, middle of March, just prior to the shutdown, because I have no clients to train. In fact, one of my clients, a former client that may have returned at some point this year, I've reached out to her a couple times and no response. And she's an elderly person who has diabetes, and she's definitely a high risk for having ill health effects if she contracted this bug. So yeah, I didn't qualify for the unemployment, or they want me to go back online because that's so easy and re-verify something or whatever. Here's the thing. The bill that was passed on March 25th, I think it was, the CARES Act, specifically had guidelines within it so that gig workers and self-employed business owners, whatever, can apply for the federal aid of $600 per week. And let me tell you, forget Florida's meager, pathetic, basically is a spit in your face, $200 max or whatever it is that they'll give you. That's the max that you can qualify for. That is such a profound insult. And here's the thing that I despise about many of these Republicans, like the corrupt criminal Rick Scott and Squinty McDumdum Ron DeSantis. They make these excuses, and again, I really don't want to say I have any political affiliation. I've said it before. I have some strong progressive views and I have some strong conservative views, depending on the circumstance. I don't even call myself middle of the road because some people who call themselves middle of the road are just too scared to say one way or the other. They're trying to play in the field. I give no S words what people think. I don't. I'm gonna express my opinions. That's what I've done always, to my detriment often, but that's just who I am. These guys are idiots. Let's be honest. To be a politician with a really good heart and to hold to your values for a long period of time, you have to either be extremely charismatic and lucky, because to be a politician requires a certain amount of funds. And to stay in politics for a long time requires you to compromise your ideals, your ethics, your values. That I've never been in politics. I could be completely wrong about that, maybe. But here's the thing. Rick Scott was involved in one of the biggest Medicare frauds ever. I know very little about Squintimate Dum Dum. I call him that because every time I see images of him, he's like this, and it's just what they all have in common, despite their many flaws, and I'm sure there are many flaws for them, and I'm a flawed human being, profoundly flawed. I've got a bad temper, I make stupid mistakes, and like I just said, I don't play the game. I don't put on the charm to appeal to others' sentimentality or manipulate or whatever. And I know that's how you need to be a successful person, and I just can't do it. I can't. I'm always gonna speak my mind. So these guys are so H-word bent on preventing people from committing any kind of fraud. So there's rampant voter fraud, they keep saying. So they use that as an excuse to disenfranchise a large minority of people. I know that's an oxymoron, but you know what I mean. They claim that there's a rampant, I think Rick Scott, was it a few years ago, claimed that there was rampant fraud with unemployment. And they implemented some drug test, so everyone has to be drug tested to receive, not unemployment, for food stamps. I think it was for food stamps. And he claimed that there would be this massive savings once we kicked off all of these corrupt people who were using food stamps to buy drugs or whatever it is that they were doing. And turns out that was nonsense. Such a low percentage of people actually tested positive for drug use that the program itself was a negative. It cost more for the program than any cost savings would have had if the program had succeeded, is what I'm trying to say. Here's what I think. I think they project onto others their own corrupt mentality. I think many of them are lazy, they're corrupt, they sort of stumbled into success, and they don't like the idea of anyone else getting a free ride, even if it's not a free ride, because unemployment is not something that people didn't. Your employers pay for unemployment. And look, I'm not a young guy. You know, I've been working since I was 16 in dozens, I think I always say a dozen different fields. And it's only been the past few years that I've been self-employed while doing stuff on the side. So I don't cheat the system. I've never cheated the system. I don't know anyone who's cheated the system. And the idea that you have to be so strict on how you do things because of a few bad apples that you're gonna basically screw everyone else over is just asinine. It's just profoundly asinine. And I recently read an article, I'm gonna see if I can find it and add it to this, to my description, where a woman, they interviewed a woman, and she basically had said that she's in her 60s, I think. I think she's young enough that she's not on Social Security, but she admits that she's a Republican. She admits that she voted for DeSantis, and she gave a video message to him through this article. And in the video, I don't remember it verbatim, but she basically was begging him to help her and her husband out because they're running out of savings and they have no way to cover any of their bills, much less their rent. And what she said in the video also, and I'll touch on that a little bit after I finish what she said in the message. She said to him, don't say that there's a lot of people committing fraud. That's not right. It's not fair. She said that she works 3 jobs to make ends meet, and she's proud to do that. Remember that part. And she said that she wants him to get on with what needs to be done. And before I discuss what needs to be done, here's the part that I found profound. She works 3 jobs and she's proud of it? When I was in school, I was training on the side, I was working security, midnight shifts, and I was in school full-time. And I'm proud of my accomplishments in that I was able to graduate magna cum laude despite the enormous stress that was involved, my lack of sleep, living in a studio that was roach infested, and basically I was on my own. But at no point did I think, man, I am so proud that I'm working 3 jobs. That is like a homeless person saying, hey, I managed to get enough food to eat today because I shuffled through various dumpsters and begged for money and was able to get enough money to buy 2 meals and some garbage I scrounged up. Somebody explain this to me. I don't understand. What does that mean? You're proud to do that? I don't. Is that as opposed to just giving up and just going hungry? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I would think that if you are in your 60s and you have to work 3 jobs just to survive, that there's something wrong with the system. I mean, great, you're a hard worker to have to do that, but there's something wrong with the system if you're having to do that. That's just my point of view. For the gig workers who are unemployed, for us to get the federal unemployment benefit package from this CARES Act, the $600 a week, the states, first of all, this was stupid for the government to do this, the Congress and the Senate, and I can't help but think they did this on purpose. If you know that all the states are being swamped by unemployment applications, if you know that we have more unemployment, and this was all the way back in March, or when they passed the CARES Act, there was a significant rise in unemployment. Knowing this, you should not have placed this essential survival fund on unemployment. It's mind-boggling. It's like I'm on the coast, or I'm on the shore. I'm on a dock, right? And I see a bunch of people in the water struggling to swim. They're trying their best. They're trying to make their way to shore. They're struggling to swim. And I have next to me a large container of life rafts, the lifesaver I can't think right now. The round tubes you can throw in the water that people can latch onto to survive. It's the bare minimum, right? And instead of me just throwing it in the water, there's people in the water who can swim. They're making their way to shore. But there are also a bunch of people in the water who can't swim, and they're struggling. Now, I can sit there and spend time trying to identify who needs to swim and who can swim, or I can just dump the damn thing in the water and try to help as many people out as I can, especially when I can make more of these life vests, these rescue pods, whatever. I don't remember the name, I'm sorry. But for me, this is what the government did instead. They looked out, saw people in desperate need, didn't have enough intelligence to think that things might get worse because they lack that intellect. They stumbled into their positions of success, most of them. Remember, they were born successful, they stumbled into successful positions, and they're corrupt, and they're stupid, many of them, let's be honest. So instead of doing this, good Lord, there's people who are struggling, and things are only gonna get worse. A vaccine is not gonna be created anytime soon, and to think that we can just lock ourselves in for a few weeks and then come outside and everything's gonna be hunky-dory, you have to have the intellect below a child's level to think that. So instead of dumping the life vests out for everyone to grab onto and help them, they did this instead. They basically said, hey, you come and grab these life vests, and then bring these life vests to this guy, and then bring those to you guy, you bring it to those guys, and then you guy, you bring it to that guy, and then you guy, you wait for everyone to call out, hey, I need help. Then you make sure that they qualify for the help, and then you bring the life vest to them. That's the kind of logic that they're going by. Now, these politicians, most of them are rich. So they don't understand why someone who hasn't received any income for weeks is now struggling. How can that be? You should have money for savings. Well, even if they did, it's been almost 2 months. And the $1,200 stimulus check is throwing crumbs for most people. Crumbs. So while the Democrats, and I don't even like their bill's riddled with nonsense and they pre-compromised, I guess because they were hoping that they can save some time, but we're dealing with people like Mitch McConnell, who's just such a slimy human being. He's going to gesture and complain and make a bunch of political statements because I guess he can, because for whatever reason he keeps getting voted into office. So the plan of pre-compromising didn't really seem to work. They've already said that the bill's dead on arrival. And they keep saying things like, look, the money from the first stimulus package hasn't even been disseminated yet fully. Let's wait and see how that works before we put out any more money. Well, it's not working. Maybe if you're a big company, a publicly trading company, you got help from the banks and the government. Maybe if you got connections with the politicians and the banks, you've got help from the government. But if you're a regular Joe Blow trying to make ends meet, you're screwed. I applied for the PPP, nothing. I applied for the EIDL, nothing. And there's a YouTube channel I like to watch. His name is Maher, M-A-H-E-R. And I don't know how he comes across this information, but he says that he's been keeping track of how many loans have been processed by the SBA, the Small Business Association, the ones who initiated the EIDL, the emergency something, I don't know what the acronym is called. But it was initially supposed to be $10,000 for small businesses, thanks to Trump's, that's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but thanks to Trump's cabinet, the EIDL said to them, listen, or the SBA said to them, listen, we don't have enough funds to cover all these applications. And the Trump administration said, well, basically what you will do is then instead you'll give each business $1,000 per employee. So if you have 10 employees, then you'll get the $10,000. That wasn't the initial intent for the EIDL. If I had gotten a $10,000 grant, let me tell you something. I would have bought some equipment and I would have paid off my car note and my rent and just kept the rest of the money in the bank, because, you know, if the gym doesn't open, the gyms don't open up, there's nothing I can really do. I probably would have tried to build up 2 other businesses that I've been trying to build up from the ground up and seeing if that can take me somewhere. But damn, dude, $10,000 would have helped a great deal. $1,000 would be just a slap in the face, crumbs in the bucket, but I can survive a little bit longer on that. It'll give me an extra few weeks at best. But Maher, I forgot what his YouTube channel is called, but he has been tracking the progression of the EIDL loans, and I think over the past 2 weeks, they essentially process about maybe 1% of the total loans per week. In other words, if this is the total amount of loans, they move this much each week. Okay? So when the turtle, Mitch McConnell, says, let's just wait and see how the first stimulus package fares before we start sending out more money. Well, I think Max did the calculation. At the rate that the SBA is paying out the EIDL loan, and if you want to apply for this loan now, you can't. They've shut down the portal They've opened it up, I believe, only to agricultural businesses, which, by the way, they've already are getting another grant of like $250,000, I think, if you're a farmer or something like that. But at the rate they're going, Max said that it would take them about years. It would take years before they finally paid everyone in the application. So they're going so incredibly slow that it's basically useless. So unemployment, nope. The $600 a week, nope. And I didn't touch on something else regarding that federal unemployment benefit package, the $600 a week. The way some states have done it is they've created their own separate portal for gig workers to apply. And I'm not sure by what metrics you have to prove that you're a gig worker, especially if you haven't had a chance to do your taxes yet. But they would apply through this other portal for the unemployment, federal unemployment. Or, like Florida has done, you have to apply for the unemployment first, get rejected from that, then go and apply through the portal for the gig worker, self-employed federal stimulus. Here's the problem. The incompetent wretches that are running our government not only can't fix their unemployment website, they haven't even begun working on the gig worker portal for the $600 a week stimulus fund. The thing is, if I displayed this level of incompetence in any job I've done in the past, I would be fired. And most of you guys know this. Most of you guys have worked jobs where you have to be so on point, otherwise you're gonna get written up, you're gonna get fired. But the level of incompetence that is shown, and if you live in Florida, you know, if it's run by the government, if you go online to try and renew your registration, or you need to go online to find out whatever it is, you go to a Florida government website, a lot of them have something in common. They're bloated, they're confusing, they're designed in the most asinine way. If you go to one of these government buildings, it's just done in an unorganized, inefficient, incompetent way. And it just seems to be the way things work. And I'm sure governments in other states are like this as well, but there's a popular meme, the Florida man meme. And when you think of how many memes there are for the Florida man, there's a lot of Florida men working in the government, and they're idiots. They're just idiots. The $600 a week federal stimulus for the unemployment was supposed to start in the first week of May. The portals were supposed to be open on that first week of May. I read an article that was written in sort of mid-April where they interviewed DeSantis and some other people regarding this portal and unemployment in general. And the article was trying to show a favorable light on the government, saying that, hey, they've at least accomplished this many unemployment applications, whatever. Here's the thing. If you're out of work because the government told you need to be out of work, and you're not getting any income because you're doing what the government asked you to do, to expect you to go on to unemployment and then reapply and then prove that you've been looking for employment is asinine. And there was a point where the governor had said, just 1 second, I'm gonna let these guys cruise by just slowly. The governor had said that he's going to suspend the requirement of people to prove that they're still out looking for other jobs. He did that for like 2 weeks, and then he re-implemented it. So first, there's a problem with going online to sign up for unemployment because it's overwhelmed and the website's written in the most incompetent way, or done in the most incompetent way. Then after you apply, you have to, even if you get the unemployment, you have to continue to reapply or prove that you're looking for employment. And some people are saying getting back on the website to do that is a challenge because there's other people trying to fill out unemployment to begin with. It's just FUBAR. It's a cluster in every single way. And the portal was supposed to be open first week of May, hasn't been done yet. I don't know when it's going to be done, and I wouldn't doubt it won't be done till maybe sometime in June. They say that you'll retroactively be paid. I bet you they're gonna go back on that. So I don't know, guys. It's extremely frustrating. It's profound incompetence. Forget about political stances. I know Democrats have their serious flaws, but I would rather have some Democrat in the office that may or may not do the damn job right than some Republican that is saying that we're a bunch of thieves and we're trying to defraud the system. Take care.